Before we start, we want to just clarify that this is an aftermarket headlight assembly. However, it should have the same bulb size and follow the same procedure. We're going to be installing switchback LEDs for this one, so let's start with these two bolts that have to be removed. After the bolts are removed, the assembly should be free. Once again, this is aftermarket assembly, but the turn signal should be located here. First, we're going to twist the socket. Pull the bulb out. This is the socket. So before we start, I want to distinguish the type of socket. There is a shiny metal part inside this socket. The metal connects the terminal here and the terminal here. So these two are ground. Mentioned in previous videos, when there are two ground on this side, that is a standard socket. If the ground is on this side, it is a CK socket. However, the bulb we're installing is compatible with both standard and CK. Let's do a quick comparison of the bulb. The LED and the halogen bulbs have the same base. However, this LED bulb has 6 LED chips on one side, but each chip has 2 different color coats. One for white and the other is for yellow, for the turn signal. This is the new switchback technology. Let's go ahead and continue the installation. The installation is simple. Just insert directly into the socket. We're going to do a quick test before we reassemble the headlight. As you can see, the bulb is hyper flashing because the power draw is less than that of the halogen bulb. We will add a resistor to fix this issue. Let's look at the switchback function. When it switches to parking light, the color turns to white. So let's install the resistor to stop the hyper flash. Be sure to match the tabs with the housing. Insert and twist clockwise to lock it in place. So now we need to find out which one is the parking light so we can wire the hollow ring to it. As you can see here, this is the original male to female plug, and this is the turn signal and parking light bulb. There are 3 wires coming from the original power source plug. The 3 wires are brown, gray, and black. The black is for the ground wires, so we have to figure out what the gray and what the brown wire is for. As you look at the female connector, you'll notice the wires are color coded the same. We're going to use a multimeter to test and find out which wire is for the parking light. We're going to turn the hazard lights on so the parking lights flash. So let's test. As you can see, the voltage on the multimeter is ticking at the same pace as the turn signals. Let's test the other one. There is no voltage. Let's see what happens when we turn on our low beam and test it again. Right now the reading is between 12 and 13 volts. Now let's look back and test the other terminal. There is no voltage. So the brown wire here is for the parking light. To install the resistor should be parallel with the turn signal circuits. One wire should be tapped to the black wire, the ground. The other wire should be connected to the blue wire, which is the turn signal wire. Before you install the resistor, you need to find a place to mount it. The resistor gets hot, so we recommend fastening it to metal parts of the chassis. Drill your mounting hole. Next, put a T-tab on the blue wire, and then put a T-tab on the black wire. Now connect the resistor by inserting it into the wire splitter. Clamp it closed with pliers to close the tab. Do the same with the black wire. Before you mount it, test it to make sure it's working properly. The turn signal is flashing normally. After a few moments, touch the resistor. You'll notice that it is warm. This means it was wired correctly. Now mount the resistor to the chassis. Put the headlight assembly back in place. Reattach the 2 screws.